Hi, welcome back. This is Donna with ABC Cake Decorating Supplies. Our next stop on our destination is going to be carnations. Carnations are probably one of my favoriteest flowers ever. And I hope you like it too. I want to show you just how simple and realistic these flowers can be. One of the things about these flowers, unlike the other flowers, is they were designated a number of petals for small, medium, large. Well, that is true. However, every time I've made a carnation, sometimes my petals, I need to make more petals. Sometimes I need to make less petals. This is my Carnation Cutter. They come in many different sizes, and there's many different Carnation Cutters out there. You can go anywhere from a circle, but I found I really like this style of cutter because I really like the jagged edges that I get with this cutter on the carnations. One of the nice things also about when you start shaping your flowers is if they should tear or if they get rigid, it just makes the flower look more like a carnation. So let's get started. First thing we need is a Carnation Cutter. Like I say, it can be a circle, there are carnations, there's so many different Carnation Cutters. And I would recommend, if you want, please visit our ABC Facebook page and our email information, and you can see the different type of cutters that we have at our store. So what I've done here, because I never know how many I'm gonna need, I cut out anywhere between 9 and 10 for this type of size cutter. And I'm gonna say that this is actually kind of on the small side, but not quite as small as like a teacup carnation, but this is pretty medium, small size. So I cut out my, my carnations. One of the things I did though, remember, we're going less than 1/16, roll it out super thin. The thinner you can get your gum paste, the nicer your ridges are gonna be. Well, we're going to introduce a different way to use the veiner tool. If you remember when we did the Gerber daisy, how we went in and we put lines up for the veins, now we're going to use this to ruffle our edges on our carnation. First thing we need to do, however, is make our carnation base. This is a carnation base, just like the roses that we made, how we made that little base so that we could wrap our petals around it. We need to pre-make one of these so that this is the platform for our carnation. And as you can tell, it's kind of lived a rough life. It's got some jagged edges, some are being torn. That's okay, that's just gonna add to it. So don't think that it's ruined just because you're missing a little bits of bites out of it. It's okay. First thing we need is our gum paste. What I did here is I just took a very little bit of pink fondant and I just kneaded it through here to get me a softer pink. I just used basically to this much gum paste, I used about this much of my pink fondant. So not a lot of fondant at all. Or you can go back with your gel paste colors like you do for your icings and your cake. You can drop a little bit of that in there and then you can knead it. So we want to make sure it's soft and pliable. One of the tricks that you can tell whether or not it's gum paste or if it's fondant, by when you start working with it, if any of you remember Silly Putty, this is exactly what it feels like. And see how it stretches? This is the elasticity that the gum paste has over fondant. The more you work it, the more it's going to start stretching. So we're going to roll this out. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll this to about the thickness of a nickel. If you have the rollers, the purple rollers would probably be about the size you want. Because it's the base, we're going to roll it out fat, and then we're going to cut it. So this is giving us, and if you see about how fat that is, that's the amount of gum paste we're going to start with for our base. We're going to take the rest of this, put this away. If it's thinner or fatter, it's okay. Just approximately about 1/8 of a And then we're gonna take it, we're just gonna roll it all back up. What we wanna do is get us a base so that we can go ahead and put our stick in there, and then this is our platform to work on. So we're gonna make kind of like a top hat or a sombrero. We're gonna take this, or you know what, it kind of looks like a sari piece too, huh? Sorry. Then we're gonna kind of push this down. But before I do that, I think I want to add a little bit more just so it doesn't start sticking on me. Now, I'm going to use my favorite rolling pin here. We're just going to start rolling this out. Now, this is where we're going to go roll it out super thin. This is going to be 1/16 or even a little thinner, because now we're going to start working this for our base. The nice thing about this is you can make a bunch of bases, just put them somewhere, let them sit for a month, 2 months, 6 months. It's not going to matter, and then you can go back and you can finish up your carnations. If you want to finish them all up and just save them, just put them someplace where they don't get broken and no humidity will come to it. That's the one thing they don't like, is humidity or water. So there. We got this, and this guy looks like he's pretty rolled out. Now we're going to take our cutter, go right back over it, center it, because that's going to be our base. And we're going to cut this out. Like I say, we don't use a lot of gum paste in any of our flowers. And then we're going to put it over here. And this is still, you can still save it and use it over and over again. Now with the veiner tool, we're going to use the skinny side. Again, you got a fat side and a skinny side. We want to use the skinny side. Going to take a little bit of our powder. Might want to always make sure you dust it. And then put a little bit of powder on the side. Or if you want, you can put it in a little bowl or a little container so that you can get it. I'm going to go ahead and rub this through. Now, unlike when we did the rose, remember how we went around the outside of it and the calla lily? Here, what we're going to do is we're going to use the ball part of the tool. Just this little curve. We're not going to use the sharp part because that will go ahead and that will tear it up too much. So you want to just use this little curve. Hold it like a pencil. Now what we're going to do is we are going to come up to the base and we're going to pull. And what we're doing is we're just coming around here and we're just pulling. If you see, all I'm doing is just dragging it on that curve and just stretching out my gum paste. And you can see how it's starting to already curve. So we're just gonna keep going around. See how it's starting to curve? I'm just gonna go around and around. And then that is the base for your carnation. Now what we're gonna do here is you take a little bit of gum glue. And your toothpick. Always make sure you put glue on your toothpick. I'm gonna insert that right in here. Don't wanna go too far up. Wipe off any extra glue. And then we are going to put it on our foam board and just let it dry. And that may take a day or so, so it's one of those, don't be in a hurry. And then you got your piece right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start our petals on this. Petals are done the exact same way as frilling as we did the base of that. So we pick one up. We're going to put it right here on our board. And then we're just going to repeat this process. So we're going to use our skinny side. Might need to drag it through some. Now, how you complete these, and you do this each time you get ready, take our glue. We are actually going to cover this whole platform right here because this is going to be the base where our petals go on to. Not a lot, but just enough. Now this is where it kind of differs from some other people. Some people will just lay them on top of each other and fluff them up. Well, I kind of came up with a different idea. Remember those toys, the origamis in school when you used to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'd open them up? Well, basically that's what I'm doing to this carnation. I'm just taking and folding it up, and then I'm going to place it right here. And then I'm going to just continue on. Okay, and then we're going to take this and fold it up again. And I'll just show you here. You may need to just come in here and pick up some of these. And then you're just forcing them. Well, now you're placing them. You're not forcing them, you're placing them. And see, and then you're just going to keep going around and around. There was a wedding that we did, and the guys wore gum paste boutonnieres, and then they had an everlasting flower when they were done, so the girls from the wedding party could have their own flowers. So making your own flowers can be very fun. And see, it's starting to come to shape. And then we'll go back after we're done and we can kind of move these around and kind of just fill in any gaps that we're going to need to. And the difference between this and these have luster dust on them, which just brings out that little bit more real look to it. And that's going to be our next segment. We're going to go over completing our flowers, and we're going to do our calyxes. We're going to learn how to paint with luster and petal dust. And we're also going to learn how to make a rose leaf, which is very, very simple. And it just adds that little extra touches to these. So here is going to be our last one for this carnation. And we're just going to take, we may need to move these over a little bit. And take this guy and stick him in there. And then this is where you just kind of come in and you just kind of tell your petals where you want them to go to fill in your carnation. Now, if you want, you can take your carnation and just like we did with our calla lily, and you can dry it upside down, or you can just let the petals fall and just let it sit to dry. I hope you enjoyed this segment of the carnations. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at donna@doublervideo.com. Thank you for following us so far on these stops with our journey. Hope to see you for our last stop where we take all this and put it all together.